So we look at some of the highlights of the laws and how it affects us. Now, this law was enacted to unify criminal procedures, facilitate speedy dispensation of criminal justice in Nigeria, protect the society from crime, as well as protect protection of rights and interests of the society. They have placed provisions for procedure for arrest of suspects, investigation, prosecution, and award of various punishment options, including innovative provisions for restitution and compensation. Now, for maybe the lawyers to understand better, now, this law, before now, we had Criminal Procedure Act and the Criminal Procedure Code for both the North and Southern Nigeria, but now there's a unified law called this Administration of Criminal Justice Act. Now, one of the challenges, I know all of us agree with me that one of the challenges with our law enforcement in Nigeria is this issue of delay in justice delivery. Sometimes cases are in court for over 10-20 years. People get tired and just forget about it. Okay, we leave everything to God. So, but this law has tried in a way to ensure that the justice delivery system is improved. Cases are tried a little bit more expeditious, even though we still have some challenges here and there. But with this law, trial processes, especially criminal trials, they are a little bit faster than they used to be. Now, this law applies in Abuja. Other states also have similar administration of criminal justice laws in their various states in Nigeria. So now we talk about perpetrators. It starts with arrest of suspects, investigation by the police, arrest also by the police and law enforcement agencies, prosecution. Police is also the major stakeholder there. We have the Ministry of Justice and other agencies that also have the powers to prosecute offenders. So all these processes must take place before you can talk of getting justice. You know, for those of us that are not lawyers, when it happens now, you just think that, oh, let them just carry the person and put him in prison. No, it doesn't work that way. There are processes. Sometimes it can take longer than necessary. But the law, there's what called due process of law. Due process of law means that even if somebody is caught red-handed doing it, you cannot just carry a knife and just cut off his neck. You must first of all arrest him, hand him over to the agency, they investigate, they take him to court, they take adjournment, go today, go tomorrow, come tomorrow. You must just be patient with the processes. That's the position of the law. So you must be patient to go through those processes. And getting through those processes will ensure that whatever you get at the end of the day as outcome conforms with the provisions of the law. Move to the next one. Okay, go back. Please go back. Just back to this. Okay, now, I talked about one of the innovations under this law. Now, under this law, before now, if somebody commits offense, the first thing is just arrest, prosecute, send him to jail. Nothing for the person that was violated. But under this law now, a victim of crime, for example, a sex offender or a victim of survival, is entitled to get compensation because it's not enough to send somebody to prison. Somebody has committed offense, has damaged somebody's future, her life, and somebody goes to prison. How does it help the victim? So now under this law now, there's provision for what we call restitution or compensation. So the court has the power to order compensation for a victim of this sexual offense we are talking about, rape and the rest of them. So there is provision for compensation under the law. So move on to the next one. Okay, a judge has discretion to award compensation. I've talked about it. Move on. Under sections, an accused person can be convicted for indecent assault when the evidence is not sufficient to prove a charge of rape, defilement, incest, or kindred offenses. Now, the truth is that I'm talking to you as a prosecutor. Proving sexual offenses can be very, very difficult, especially if you don't know how to handle it. Somebody commits, from the arrest, from the investigation, if you spoil it, the man will go scot-free at the end of the day. For example, I give an example. If there's a suspected rape case, when you arrest, when you get the victim, it's not a time to start shouting about you, start rushing up and down. First of all, do the right thing. Calm down. You need to take the girl or the victim. Let me not say girl now because a boy too can be raped. Take the victim for a medical test. Don't even watch the undies, the pants. Don't, because those are vital evidence. Police will tell you, those from Ministry of Justice will tell you, those are vital evidence. All those semens and the rest of them, those things, they are very vital in proving at the end of the day whether or not the person is guilty or not. So, if you spoil the case from the point of arrest or from the point of incident, or you don't report it immediately, if something happened today, you wait till next 2-3 years to come and report tomorrow, or to come and report thereafter. There's nothing the law enforcement agencies can do. At the end of the day, you have already spoiled the case from the beginning. So it's good we know some of these things. So also, like I said, rape can be difficult to prove, but the laws have been made a little bit lenient. That where, for example, an accused person cannot be convicted for rape because maybe the evidence is scanty, he can be convicted for other lesser offenses. Like we talk about incest, defilement, and other offenses like assault. For example, there's no evidence to prove rape, you can convict, the court can convict for assault. So those are some things. And under this new law also, there's also provision for what we call plea bargain. Now, plea bargain means that somebody has committed offense and he say, I did it. Okay, I want to settle with you. Anyhow they want to settle. Maybe he has accepted to pay compensation, train the victim from nursery to university, take care of the medical costs and all those things. So the prosecutors, that's the government lawyers handling the matter, and all those involved, they can enter into an agreement, and that agreement, the court will adopt it as its judgment. At the end of the day, everybody go home. So that's what we call plea bargain. So under this law now, that is allowed. But I'm going to you later understand that this plea bargain is not the same thing as family settlement. The one that is very common now, like in this organization, most times cases are reported when we come into it to handle matters officially, to follow it through. At the end of the day, they say, Madam, you want to break your home, you want to spoil your husband's name, you know, it's our family matter, our family secret, let's hold it. So at the end of the day, we discover that most times we cover up. And when we cover up, these people will continue to do it. Some people will continue. You escape this one, you will do it again and all that. So, but those are some of the issues we're looking at. Now go to the next one. Next one. Okay, I'll look at the criminal code and penal code. Now, criminal code act is the law applicable in southern Nigeria. When we talk about southern Nigeria under the law, we're talking about the southwest, the south-south, and the southeast. And then penal code applies in northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria comprises of the 19 northern states, including FCT where we are now, Niger State, Kogi, up to far north. So there are two different laws applicable, and the reason for this difference in the laws is because of our historical background and several other factors, religious, cultural, and other differences. So, but basically, these laws are there in place, providing for these offenses and provide guard against these offenses. Now, look at, for example, Section 216 of the Criminal Code Act provides for an offense of indecent treatment of boys under the age of 14 and prescribes 7 years imprisonment, while indecent treatment of girls under the age of 16 years attracts punishment of 2 years imprisonment under Section 2 of the Act. The Act states that to deal with includes doing any act which, if done without consent, will constitute as an assault. So there are a lot of offenses. Now, let me tell you that issue of consent does not even arise when we are talking with talk about children, because those below the age of 18 under the law cannot give consent for any sexual act. Even if a girl says, "Come and do it, I like it," if you do it, so long as the girl is underage, it's an offense. Do you understand? So the law says that such a child cannot give a valid consent for sexual acts. So for my fellow men folk, you have to beware that the fact that the girl is sexually exposed and is an underage, if you get involved with her and the case is reported, you are one step close to Kirikiri or to prison, or the nearest one is Ikuji or where. So please, let's take note of that. Move on to the next one. Next one. Okay, move. Yes. Offenses are there. Defilement. When we talk about defilement, we are talking about sexual act with a minor. Any sexual act with a minor constitutes a defilement. Someone that is a minor, and of course, it can be rape also. It can be also issue of rape. The difference between defilement and rape is that in rape, we are talking about someone that can give consent, but did not consent to the act, like an adult. If you have sex with an adult who has the right to give consent, but did not give consent to the act, if you have sex with the person against the person's consent, or the consent is obtained by fraud, or you impersonated the husband, you understand? It's possible to impersonate somebody's husband, or to impersonate, or anyhow, either by duress, by under compulsion, any act by force constitutes rape. But defilement is if the person is a minor in the first place, issue of consent is out of it. So that's defilement. So we move on. Yes, under the law. Now, one major problem we have with prosecuting cases of all these sexual offenses is issue of what we call corroboration. Corroboration means that it's not enough that the victim say this person did it. There must be something to back it up, as in either someone witnesses it, or there must be another independent evidence other than the words of mouth of the victim. That's what we call corroboration. Do you understand? And the challenge is that because this thing always happens in secret, you hardly can have someone witness it. But medical evidence can also constitute corroboration. For example, the girl complained that she was violated, and you took the girl for a medical test, and the medical test confirmed that there was penetration, or there was seminal fluid in the vagina, or whatever. That is it. Or there is the pants worn by the girl on that very day of the incident. There was blood stained, or there was something, there was anything other than the words of mouth of the victim. Because one side of it, another side of it is the fact that people can easily frame another person up for rape. Some people use it to even blackmail. We've seen cases before. Let's say you did it long ago. Things have been going on well. You've been asking the person, give me money, give me money. The person is not ready to give the money. The next thing you now say, okay, oh, this person raped me, just to tarnish the person's name. So that's why the law insists that to convict for rape, there must be that balance, so that nobody can wake up tomorrow and frame another person up. So let's move on. Move on. Yes, I've talked about another thing. Very important I need to bring to notice: a householder who commits defilement of young girls on his or her premises commits an offense and liable to imprisonment for 2 years. Now, you have the girl. Let's say you have a house help in your house, and the girl is being violated, and you are aware, and you want to cover it up as the guardian. If you are caught, at the end of the day, the law says you can go for 2 years imprisonment, even though you were not the one that did it. But the fact that you condone it, or you try to cover it up, it also constitutes an offense. Also, I'm talking about penal code also applies in northern Nigeria. Now, the little problem we have between the north and the south is the fact that because of our cultural differences, some applications of the laws in the north has a little pitches. I give you an example. Under the law in the northern part of Nigeria, a man is permitted to marry a girl below the age of 18. Under the law, it's allowed. But internationally, anybody below 18 is a child. Are we getting it? So these are some of the problems we have here and there. So there are little limitations here and there. Maybe during our discussion later, activity later, maybe we'll discuss some of these things and then we'll find solutions. We move forward. Okay, so I've talked about this. Okay, so yes, we'll go to the next one. Go to the next one. No, okay, calm down. Let me see. What did he say? So, all the offenses, there is nowhere, the point is, there is nowhere rape is allowed in Nigeria. It's not allowed both in the north or in the south. Indecent assault is not allowed, but I told you people the little limitation here and there. So let's move on. Move on. So there's also Child Rights Act of 2003. Now this act is also a federal law applicable currently in Abuja FCT. The states are also expected to have their own various laws. This issue of the Child Rights Act. As I'm talking to you, as of today, 24 states in Nigeria have this law domesticated, leaving out of the 36 states, 24, that's 6 plus about 12 states are yet to pass the law. So now this law provides for the protection for the privacy, honor, reputation, health, information, anything that has to do with the well-being of children. This law provides to protect them. Now, like we said, all we have been saying today is that anybody below the age of 18 is a child. Is it not? That is the law. Now, but for some states that have problem with accepting the fact that below 18 is a child, they are yet to adopt this law. Because they know that if they adopt it, they know that some people are already offenders. And so I will not mention them. So, but that is it. The bottom line is generally anybody below 18 is a child. The person is not qualified to be a wife, or to be a concubine, or to be a girlfriend, or to be anything below 18. Even if she has grown as tall as this roof, she's still a child. So please allow her. After 18, can take her up as a wife. So move on. Okay, section 31 of the Act renders unlawful any sexual intercourse with a child and a contravention. So the bottom line of this law, as it relates to what we are here, is that any sexual act with somebody under 18 is an offense. And under the law, it attracts up to 40 years imprisonment. So you can see that some of the things that people do, they are offenses, or they are violating the laws and all of that. Okay, like I told us earlier, as of December 2021, 25 of the 6 years in Nigeria have passed the bill into laws in the various states. Move on. So now I move to the next law. We look at Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015. This law was passed into law, and there's a beauty in this law. Now, under the penal code and the criminal code, the ones I talked about, the application both in the south and north, rape, it was only a woman that can be raped before now. But under this new law, 2015 law, this law was signed under the last regime of President Jonathan. Under this new law, a boy can also be raped. It's no longer female gender that can be victims of sexual assault or sexual violation. So the law has recognized that a male, a boy can be raped. That's one of the innovations under this law. It defines a rape as a person commits rape if he or she intentionally penetrates the vagina, anus, or mouth of another person. So you can see that the definition of rape has been, the scope has been widened. It means that it's not only here. You can do it here too. If you put your whatever abuna inside here, somebody's mouth, it constitutes rape. You know? Let me say something. If a man puts his penis inside a woman's or a girl's mouth, it constitutes rape under this law. Yeah, so or anus. So you understand? All those ones say, okay, no, me, I did not do front, it's back, I do. It's still an offense. Is that not? Okay, so now anus or mouth of another person with any other part of his body. So that is also why now the implication of any other part of his body means that if you enter either through the front, the back, the mouth, any part of the body against the person's consent, intentionally, it constitutes rape. With any other part of his body without consent or with consent if obtained, is obtained by force, threat, fear of harm, use of any substance or by fraudulent use. So any of those things constitute rape. A small girl visit you, you open coke, you put something inside, the girl drinks and sleeps up, and you now climb and start doing it, you are raping the person. That is it. Now, so use of substance, fear of harm, or you say you either lie down for me or cooperate, or I will kill you or I will shoot you, or if you tell anybody I will kill you, it constitutes rape. It's rape. Even if the girl says please do it, it is rape. Okay, so we move on. I believe that. So some of the innovations under this law, the punishments for rape is as follows: 1, maximum of 40 years imprisonment when the offender is less than 40 years of age. That is, if the alleged rapist is less than 40 years, is less than 40 years, he can go to prison for 40 years too. Minimum of 12 years imprisonment for offenders above 40 years of age. Minimum. You understand the difference now? The first one say maximum. The second one say minimum. That means the least the court is supposed to give you is 12. The court can give you from 12 to 100. So minimum of 20 years imprisonment for each offender in case of gang rape. And gang rape has been very common. Where guys, what is gang rape? Gang rape is where 2 or 3 people gather together to rape one person. That's gang rape. If he does it, he will be reminded now. He can go to prison though. So he can go to prison.
Just like 14 years. Just like 14 years. Committing murder.
Yes. So, this thing we are saying is very important. Many of us here are parents. So, it's very important as you learn this thing, pass the message across to your boys and girls. Tell them also. Because if a boy of 40 years old does it, he can go and spend 40 years of his life. Juvenile home. Juvenile home is not a hotel now. Juvenile home is not a hotel though. It's not a hotel. Right? See, juvenile home is not a hotel. Just take it that juvenile home is not a hotel. Okay, so we move on. The maximum sentence in all cases is life imprisonment. So maximum of life imprisonment. Somebody will spend the rest of his life in prison because of 3 seconds or 30 seconds or 3 minutes, depending on how many whatever. So it's not worth it. Please, as a man, say with me that it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Is it worth it? No. It's not worth it now. How? Okay, so it is important to note that there is no option of fine or any other punishment under the act. So under this law now, that idea of say you can maneuver your way and then you pay a fine and go home. Under this law, no fine. It must be prison. So please, it's not worth it. Move on. Violence against persons provision. The court is also mandated to award appropriate compensation to the survivor. Like I also said, another innovation here. Before now, there was nothing for the victim. But under this law now, there's provision for compensation for a victim of abuse. Move on. Okay, so now people they are here. Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Enforcement and Administration Act of 2015. The law has been amended from inception and all of that. So they can talk to us later about. So NAPTIP, of course, they are here. They are there as a government agency. NAPTIP started as a private organization, non-government organization like we're talking about here. Whatclef. Is it Whatclef? Okay. It started as an NGO or it was okay. So the main thing is, the lesson is that NAPTIP has the responsibility of curtailing forced labor, child labor, forced prostitution, exploitation and other forms of slavery. The agency has the power to arrest, detain, investigate and prosecute offenders. Please confirm, madam, you have all those powers. Okay. So the agency uses a 4-pronged approach of prevention, protection, prosecution and partnership with relevant international, local, government and non-governmental agencies. So, as stakeholders. So, everything we are doing now in this place is in support of the function of NAPTIP. We are here doing the prevention aspect of it. We are telling us so that we get to know and then to be able to prevent it. Move on. So, NAPTIP is mandated under sections 46 and 47 of this Act to take reasonable measures to protect the identity of informants and witnesses. You know, sometimes people are scared of reporting cases to police, law enforcement agencies, and the rest, in case their identity will be revealed. So, but now, for example, under the NAPTIP Act, if somebody complains, your identity will be protected. They will not tell the accused person that, oh, it was Malam Zachary that came to report this case against you. So, under the law, we also have what we call Witness Protection Act. So, there are laws in place to protect the identity of informants. So, if we see something, say something. If you see another person's child being abused, either in your neighborhood, anywhere around, don't just keep quiet, it's not my business. Don't wait for it to happen to your own child before you get consent. So if you see it, report to relevant government agencies like NAPTIP, police, and other agencies are involved in all these things. So move on. Okay, I'm talking about this. This is of interest to me because Armed Forces Act, we're talking about the laws that govern the military, the Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force, and all of that. So under the military law also, Section 78 of the Act provides for offense of defilement of a female minor under the age of 16 with a maximum of 40 years imprisonment or any less sentence. A victim could be a child or one of the military personnel civilian. So here, under the military law too, it is also an offense. They also have offense of defilement. There's also offense of rape. So if you find any security personnel involved in this, you can report to appropriate agencies, and I can bet you that appropriate actions will be taken against them because they also have this offense under their laws. Okay, so move on. So under the Air Force Act, military courts. So military has their separate court system, unlike our normal high court and the rest. So we have military court martial. So their cases are dealt with more expeditiously. You don't have cases last up to 1 year in the military. Quick. Finish it up and then we will send you there. So that's the military system for you. If you find anybody in your neighborhood being abused by a soldier, a personnel of the military, you are expected to report. And I can tell you, military does not cover it. Okay, so move on. Now, one of the limitations under that law is that defilement, if you look at it, it's only a girl that can be defiled under their law. So if a boy is abused, for example, by a female or a female, if a boy is abused by a female, you can only talk of assault, not defilement, because the law only says if a girl. So, but if a boy abuses a boy, that is sodomy. There's also offense of sodomy under the military law. Yes. So, it's good we know these things so that we can report and take actions appropriately. Now, like we say here, parents, guardians, caregivers are advised to promptly report cases to the defense headquarters, army headquarters, navy headquarters, air force headquarters, all co-located in the assembly that here, the headquarters here, or any nearest military base. Military does not condone these things, but like police here, police needs to work on information. Security agencies need to work on information. They are not spirits. If you don't report a case, there's nothing they can do. So, and sometimes, yes, I know the fear of, oh, I cannot go near military barracks. Now, let me tell you, with this modern age, you don't even need to go there. You can get one young lawyer, tell the lawyer will write a letter straight to the chief of army staff, to the defense, minister of defense, or the appropriate agencies, and they will take action, and they will be. So you don't need to go there. But the main thing is you must report the cases if it happens. It's also advised that, okay, go back. It's also advised that, go back. It's also advised that such complaints are backed by necessary evidence to aid appropriate investigation and further necessary action by the military authorities. So, now, if you are going to report with evidence. Not be them say. Do you understand? If you are saying something, you should be able to back it up with the modern gadgets here and there, phone and the rest of them, wristwatches and the rest. You can record anybody without anybody even knowing. You record anything. Once you have your evidence, back it up and write it. So now we look at steps in getting justice for survivors. Now, after all said and done, if we could not prevent it, and it happens, what do we do? That's the stage we are in. Now, when you notice anything strange happening to your child, your ward, and the rest of them, panic, beating, and all the rest of them, that's not the solution. And when you do that, you know what? When you do that, the victim will be withdrawn to himself or herself. He will not be able to talk to you. So it's not the time to start running helter-skelter and say, this boy, you will kill me. This guy, you will kill me. That's not the time to do that. Just calm down. Yes, we know that, yes, you may be surprised and the rest of them, but calm down and handle it properly. Avoid blaming or doing anything that will make the survivor feel bad or worse. The worst thing to do is to blame a victim for something that has happened to him or her. If you can't help, just keep quiet. You understand? So, sometimes, and apologies, we are involved. Sometimes somebody come and report. You now say, what did you go there to do? Where did you go there? Why did you go to his house by that post? You now start questioning the victim and even make the victim feel like, oh, already, there's no help for me. So it's not the time to involve in blaming the person. Here are some steps to take. Draw the victim close to yourself. Empathize. Just put yourself in his or her shoes. Just try to feel the person's pains. And then the person will be able to talk to you. You can apologize. I'm sorry. Please, this thing happened to you. I'm very sorry. Please, just calm down. This is not the worst that can happen. Just say something that will suit the person, that will help the person psychologically to be able to talk, to be able to scale, to be able to go through it. So, draw the person close so that you'll be able to gather information. It's not by beating the child or make the child talk to you or tell you. And let me tell you, when you start beating, the person can even start confessing the one he did not do or she did not do. She will even tell you so many things that may not be of help to you. But when you are calm, you'll be able to talk with the person heart to heart. If it is a recent act, don't bath, clean or change the clothes of the victim. Simply rush the child to the police station. That's what we are talking about now. It has happened. And then the next thing you carry the child, you go and bath the person. You don't bath everything, come on. Do you understand? So it's very important. It's not, no, wait, don't clean up the person first. Go and report the case first. Video it as much if possible. Video the person as you are taking the child from the school or from wherever it happened. Video it, do the recording. You may just leave the face out. You can video the body and leave the face out of it for the privacy of the victim. So take the child to the police station, nearest security agency. Let them take the child for proper test. They need that medical report. That initial medical report is very, very important. So don't bath the victim. Also take the child to the nearest hospital, preferably a government-owned hospital for medical examination. Like I say, government-owned with emphasis, because most times reports from private hospitals can be easily influenced. So that's the more reason, take the victim to the nearest government hospital for test. And either way, either you go for test first before you go to the police, or police first. But the main thing is that these two are very important. Medical test is important, and reporting it to the appropriate authority is important for this action. Also, move on. Okay, so now this is to allow for preservation of evidence. I told you that cases are decided based on evidence, not by emotions. Those of us are not lawyers and not law enforcement agencies. When something happens now, you'll be shouting. No, it's not by that. Law is about evidence. No day. If you don't have evidence to back it up, the person will go away. So that is it. I don't know whether to say the good thing or the bad thing about the law. It is about evidence. If you don't have it, you don't have it. So, preservation of evidence, allow for preservation of evidence, don't clean up, and you have time to, all those evidence. If you tamper with the evidence, you have kind of sometimes spoiled the case, you may not be able to get justice. So, move on to the next one. Okay. Preservation of evidence, move on, I think it's repeated. Okay. Again, prompt reportage of a crime is vital to us getting desired result. If you don't report it in time, you may end up spoiling the case. So when it happens, Very important to report appropriately. Don't wait and say, let me go and hold family meeting first, and then take consent from my family members or my husband's family so that we can hold a meeting first to decide. Please report. And when one of the things I have in there is that when you are going to report, please report to as many agencies as possible. Escalate it, so that if you report it here and these people decide to like keep quiet, these people cannot keep quiet. Everybody, you cannot buy everybody's silence. Do you understand? You cannot bribe everybody. You can't bribe everybody. So if you report it in one station, you report it here, you report it there, you report it, and the case is everywhere, you will know that definitely one of the agencies must do something about it. So very important to report it promptly. Delay in reportage may affect medical examinations of the victim, and in turn affect the results of the medical examination. Also, delay may also deprive the court of jurisdiction to attend to matters. You know, under the law, in cases there's what called jurisdiction, there must be a time frame within which a case can be prosecuted. If somebody comes to today and says somebody raped me 30-40 years ago, do you understand? You can't succeed anywhere. You can't succeed because evidence must have been destroyed. Even the people that are witnessing must have even forgotten what happened. So there is time frame. That's why we're emphasizing this issue of prompt reporting of the incident. Move on to the next one. Yes, this one is one of our talking points. As an organization, we don't support this idea of amicable settlement. In cases of child sexual abuse, we don't support it. We don't support it as an organization. Because from our experience in handling some of these cases, when you settle as family matter and say, oh, I beg, now please leave him. Please, let's handle. The person will do it again. He will do it again. The person will do it again. So we can't continue to cover it up and say it's a family matter, it's a personal matter, it's a private matter. You know? So that issue of amicable settlement, we don't support it. It empowers the abusers to do more harm to other children and the society as a whole. The truth is, the abusers lose their powers once the victims leave the scene of crime. Now, sometimes they'll tell you, if you tell anybody, we'll kill you or we'll do this. See, let me tell you. The moment the victim leaves the scene of the incident, the abuser has lost his or her power. So if you report it, nobody is going to kill anybody at the end of the day. Most times they threaten, and because of fear of harm, people hardly can report. You know, maybe if the perpetrator is someone in big authority, or it's someone in authority, or someone in highly placed persons. But I can tell you, if you report it, nothing will happen, and nothing will happen to the victim, and action will be taken. So move on. I'm almost closing home. Who can report? Everybody can report. Both the victim can report. Trusted person can report. Eyewitness can report it. Like I say, if you see something, you say something. If you see it happening to somebody, or you are aware or you hear of it, always report it. Anybody can report. The victim can report. Any other person can report on behalf of the victim or the survivor section. 88 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act says that the person may make a complaint against any other person alleged to have committed or to be committing an offense, and there are measures to protect whistleblowers and victims of crimes. So anybody can report. It doesn't have to be the victim herself. It mustn't be family members alone. If you see it, if you hear it, have your facts and figures and evidence, and then you can report it. Where can you report it? We have said it. You can report it to the police. Police is the primary law enforcement agency in Nigeria. You know, you can report to the police. Report it anywhere. Report to move on. Trusted persons. You can report it to trusted persons, parents, holders, siblings, caregivers, teachers, pastors, and imams. And for us, most of us in the teachers and the rest of them. Now, for proprietors and those involved in management, this thing happened in your school. They report it to you. But because you know that if this thing gets up there, the government may sanction your school, you decide to cover it up. That's wickedness. It is wickedness to prioritize financial gains over the health or something that affects another person. And let me tell you that you can't cover it up for long. If it is later discovered, you're also an accomplice. Yes, the school or the authority that is aware that fails to do something is an accomplice, and the person can also be sanctioned at the end of the day. So move on. Next one, like I said, you can report to military authorities, defense headquarters, and the rest. For example, where a personnel of the military is involved in the abuse, you can report to military authorities. You can report to NAPTIP, that's a NAPTIP representative. You can report this to. You can also report to non-governmental organizations like Protect the Child Foundation or any other organization that is into all these activities. You can report, and I can bet you, in this organization, we have lawyers, we have doctors, we have journalists, we have all professionals in these organizations who volunteer for these organizations, and I can tell you, you can pick the case up at no cost and follow it up to logical conclusion. So, but if you don't give us reports, if you don't report cases, there's nothing we can do. If you are not aware, we won't be able to do something. Move on. Sexual assault referral centers. We also have what we call sexual assault referral centers. We have a center in Kubwa, and the contact details of the sexual assault referral centers is in this our mode here at the back page. Maybe later when we come up with the final copy that will give you, you know some of the centers, so you can report it at any of those centers. Move on. Wait, hold on. So also I talk about social media platforms. Social media has become one of the powerful tools now. We can, even though it has its bad side, it also has its very good side of it. So if you report it to the authorities and you feel that the authorities is not doing anything, just blow it up on social media. And I can tell you, as it spreads, something will be done about it. We've seen some people that have been brought to justice because of some of these reports that have come up on social media. So it's good we escalate. That's the bottom line of it. Schools should create a special desk. Now, for schools, like we said, we need to have desks, dedicated centers, or anybody, a trusted person who has basic knowledge like this, who can take up some of these reports in confidence and also take action on it. So please, it's very, very important for those of us who are teachers and the rest, administrators, school administrators and the rest of them. Please, we need to up our game, because this thing is getting very, very wild, very, very viral and everywhere. So move on. So the bottom line of everything we are talking about is to speak out. Speak out loud. Survivors should be required to report the incident to as many trusted persons. We've said that over and over. Advantage is that if one person decides not to act or is compromised, it will be difficult for the perpetrator to buy everybody's silence. Assure the survivor that he or she will be protected and should not keep silence, even if he or she may be blamed. The perpetrator has no right or justification to commit rape or abuse anybody. Nobody has justification to abuse another person. Move on. Coming to the end of it. Why we all have to speak out? Like we said, don't wait until it's your own child before you start crying. Everybody should be involved. Now, and the thing is, there's a little loss of confidence in our judicial system. We say, oh, case is court, and you go there and this. See, don't be discouraged. I can tell you that yes, even though we have challenges with the justice system, but judges give attention to cases of sexual abuses and the rest of them. And if cases are properly investigated and prosecuted, I can bet you that the perpetrator will be convicted at the end of the day. So you will get justice, even though sometimes it may be slow, but certainly it will come. So if all stakeholders play their respective roles in the fight against child sexual abuse, I believe that we'll have a safer society. Move on. This is going to be the end of the presentation. These activities will take it after the break. Even if I'm not around, someone else will coordinate our opportunity. Let's move to the next slide. Let me see what's there. Move on. So the bottom line is that say no to abuse. Say no to abuse. Move on. Yes. So all of us have to say no, and then say no to it. Very loud no. Last one. Thank you for your rapt attention.